Hey, what's up, guys? Steve here. I was inspired today by one of my best friends. The reason why I was inspired is because I'm open about my mental health. I'm open to talk about my depression. I'm open to talk about my anxiety. I'm open to talk to anyone about my mental health because I have nothing to hide. And once you have nothing to hide, I think that's one of the first steps into really healing from your depression, from your anxiety, from your mood disorders. If people know that you're struggling, if you're not hiding it, it's kind of like a weight off your shoulders. It's one less stressor in your life. And I really didn't think about it, but I was just having a conversation, about improving our lives with one of my best friends. And it just came out of me through text messages that one of my biggest fears is taking a big step, such as like renting an apartment or getting a mortgage on a house or applying for a new job or making major changes, because I'm afraid of a depression relapse. I'm afraid of falling so deep down and being so committed and having something so big over my head, like a mortgage payment or a rent payment or a new job, and leaving my comfortable job and leaving my comfortable life, that this fear of a depression relapse is kind of taking control of who I am and who I thought I'd be at 30 years old. So I'm going to try and make some changes, and change is super, super hard. And if you're depressed, your number one goal is to stop being depressed. My friend described our current situation as like a cancer. It's like this non-stop, ever-growing thing that if you don't treat it, if you don't take care of the issue, mainly being comfortable and not being able to move on, if you don't get out of that shell, if you don't get out of that cancer-like state, it just grows and grows and grows, and it'll eventually be your demise. So you have to move on. You can't be afraid to take risks. You can't be afraid to move on. And that's one of my major issues, is to move on with my life. I always have in the back of my head, I want to get out. I want to get my own apartment. I want to get my own house. I want my own place with my own wife and to have my own life. But there's always that thing in the back of my head that says, "But Steve, you deal with depression, you deal with anxiety. What if?" What if anything? There's so many what ifs in the world that you can't count them all. You can't sit back in life. And I'm a big negative thinker, but just this conversation with my best friend, one of my best friends today, you can't sit back and say what if your entire life, because if you say what if your entire life, you're never going to do anything. Especially if all you're thinking about is the negative possibilities in any situation. My main one, like I just said, moving out. Will it be hard financially? Hell yeah, it'll be hard. But is it worth a shot? Yes, it is. That's something that I want for myself. It's something that I want for me and my wife. And it's scary. And there's a lot of what ifs about it. But I'm never going to know unless I give it a shot. And letting something like depression, which I beat, and anxiety, which I beat, letting those things that are still a little bit of a part of my life, but compared to last year, 2 years ago, they're so minor and should not dictate how I live. And anything ailing you should not dictate how you live. especially if you've overcome that hump. If you're coming back downhill to an even playing field, there shouldn't be a worry. You should just live your life to the fullest, to make changes and take risks. And it's easier said than done. And the hardest step is the first step into doing anything, no matter what you're doing in life. That first step is commitment. Once you make that commitment to yourself, you make that commitment in your life, that's a change. And commitment is usually a positive change. And positivity is a great thing. It's improvement. So you gotta take that big fear. I have to take that big fear of falling back into depression, falling back into suicidal thoughts and severe anxiety. I have to take that fear and tell it to go fuck itself. And if you're in my shoes and you've overcome depression or your darkest days are behind you, don't let your past hold you back. What happened in the past happened in the past, and you can learn from that. And if you're in the shit right now, if you're hurting so bad that you don't think that there's ever going to be an end to it, there is. There definitely is. I'm living proof. The people that I learned from on YouTube, the people that I read about on the internet, there is living proof that you can beat depression, you can beat anxiety, you can live a life. Celebrities who've dealt with depression make millions of fucking dollars. They beat depression. And just because they're a celebrity doesn't mean that they got any more help than you can get. It's about that drive. It's about that want to feel better, that need to feel better, that need to improve your life, to get better. It's the number one goal. To beat depression and then to leave depression behind you. Leave it. Write the word depression on a piece of paper, crumble it up, and just throw it out. Because if you let it just sit on you, but it just feels like 1,000-pound weight and you can't move, and it prevents you from making any change in your life, and it prevents you from moving forward, and all it wants to do is make you move backward, and that's all in your mind. It's all in your mind that you think you're gonna fall back when really you should be moving forward. So move forward and make some changes in your life. Because change is important. Change is positive. And it's very necessary. Especially for your well-being. And especially for your mental health. That's the video for today, guys. Hopefully you learned something from it. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Keep your heads up. Keep fighting. And keep surviving. I'll see you in the next one. Be well.